sick and I'm sick of this love game. I'm tired of hearing I'm the one to blame. I'm sick of you telling me to go and get dressed as if I'm the man you're here to impress. I'm love sick and I'm sick of this love game. I'm tired of hearing I'm the one to blame. And I'm sick of you telling me to go and get dressed as if I'm the man you're here to impress.
Pretty much what we thought on the day. And what we thought throughout the course of the first half, although we didn't rectify it too much. Simply our defence. Our defence were nowhere near up to scratch. I'm talking about in the ruck. It's you hear a lot of coaches, I guess, talk about completion rates, and if you complete at a certain percentage, you've no chance of winning the game. But that equates to the flip side of that is defending the ruck, and we just didn't win any tackles in the middle of the park. It's been a very difficult one for us to put our finger on, because we felt we practiced really well. We felt confident, we looked sharp in training, our warm-up were great, but one team ran hard and tackled hard, and we didn't. We barely won a ruck in that first half, and it's very difficult to talk about the rest of your game, how our attack were functioning, how our edge defence were going, because it were irrelevant. It all becomes a little bit irrelevant when you're losing as many rucks as we did. So that's been obviously a big focus. Very tough video this week, and we've had what we'd probably term an attitude session early in the week. There was snow on the pitch, standing water, plenty of mud, and we just asked the boys to rip in and get that right level of desire that's required to take part in that part of the contest. And I felt it was very noticeable. I watched most of the games, most of the Super League games last weekend, and nearly every game, I know this is a fairly obvious statement, but there were a team that were physically dominant within those games, and the guys that ran hard and tackled harder in the ruck were the teams that won, and won quite convincingly.
So have you seen signs of that attitude training, if you like, that it's working 3 days on?
Well, we'll tell on Saturday, won't we? I wouldn't expect anything else than what we turned out in training. Obviously, we trained 2 days after the game, which is not a time when we would have necessarily thrown the suits on and done that type of session. But I think all the sports science could have gone out of the window this week, and we felt we needed to get that in because of exactly what were required for this group. They responded good, but the acid test of our response is going to come on Saturday. Again, a team what has got very big, strong ball carriers in it. And from our own point of view, I think we know. We had a couple of major disappointing performances last year, but undoubtedly for me, this was our furthest away we've been since I've been at the club. It were our most disappointing performance, and on the back of a pre-season, and a good spirit among the boys. It was, I won't say a shock, nothing in rugby league shocks you anymore, but it was a surprise and a huge disappointment that we'd choose to turn it in on round one.
And presumably that means you sort of resist the urge to make wholesale changes. You give them the chance to put it right rather than sort of making a few changes for this weekend. We'll
have a look. We've got some players fit and available, and we've had a good look at the video, and we're still tossing that up as we speak at the moment. We're having a look, and these one or two guys sort of edging forward, and a couple of young guys that have been played quite aggressively and trained quite aggressively throughout the off season. But there's also that temptation that some of our guys that played probably we can see one or two of them. Well, we're not putting excuses up there for them, but a little bit light on a pre-season, and there were guys that once we got them up to speed did really good for us last year. And why I'm saying that is because I felt it took us a while to get there last year. We always felt we got some attacking us, but we felt, especially in the contest in the ruck, that was something that it were a constant area of our game that we had to address and work on last year. But we did get to a point where we got it to a level that helped change our season, and it might be that we've got to keep working that little bit harder and getting some of these boys a little bit more practice in doing that. And we'll decide this weekend whether some of those guys get put on notice and get another shot at it, or whether we decide to make any changes. Andy Raleig's back fit, and he'll certainly come into the team. That's rubber stamped.
Does that make the performance almost as important as the win then this weekend, bearing in mind that you're at home as well?
Performance and attitude, yeah. Performance and attitude. There's other factors that can come into win. Of course, we want to win, and we want to find any way we can to get the win. We want to get that first win under our belt. But the level of performance and the attitude in what we're sticking to our defensive effort is going to be the key for me.
And OKR this weekend, obviously it's just the second week of the season, everybody's sort of feeling each other out, and what have you made of them so far?
Well, I've watched a couple of the games and I thought they were quite impressive against LFC. I thought they were physically very strong, and I thought they were very well marshalled around the park, as they always are by Michael Dobson. And they've got a player in Corey Patterson that's new to the competition, and he very much looks to be a strong go-to man for them. He's got a bag of tricks. He's got a terrific offload in the tackle. He likes to get the ball early and play a little bit with it as well. And I think they look pretty well organised. I thought they were, really out-muscled at times last week by a very ruthless and relentless Catalan team. So they'll probably have had a similar week and probably be feeling a little bit how we were. Probably not as bad as us. But I think that might have been part of when they look at the big scheme of how their week went. Probably looking at some similar things to what we did. But they're a quality side, and I think they're a team that will be disappointed where they finished last year, and they had a lot of close games, and they'll be looking to convert some of those close defeats into wins this year and push themselves back into the 8.
And if you look back at all of the fixtures over the week, can you read anything into that? I think the surprise was the Giants and what they did at Saints.
Well, the physically dominant team won again. They really went there with a great attitude to Saints, and Saints were probably a little bit below par in that department, and we saw what happened. And it's hard, I'm sure it's hard for us coaches to pinpoint exactly why one team could be so much more dominant in that area, than the other. And I say it probably boils down to a little bit of attitude. So the rest of the game there's not much consequence about it if you can't get that right. So for us, and I'm sure for Saints, it'll be a focus again this week. And I'm not really interested in Saints. I'm more interested in what we do. But I don't think it changes too much about what we thought about the season. It's not got us off to a great start, and I think every team has a performance or a couple of performances like that a year. Unfortunately for us, ours has come on round 1. So hopefully the only way is up, and we're very much looking forward, and we're a team and a club that know somewhere along the line we are going to strike little bumps in the road, if you like, and as I say, we're looking forward, and we're not going to dwell on that too much. Hopefully we can rectify it and get back on the horse straight away. Just finally, injuries, how are you looking? Yeah, okay. We've not picked anything up from last week. Andy Rowley's back fit again, and we'll have a call on Timmy Smith on his last field session. He's probably rated 50-50 at this stage, I'd say. He's back running and doing some twisting and turning, but we want to make sure he's 100% before that. But he's making good progress.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
When you sort of dissecting on, do the lads themselves come back at you with any reason for it? I mean, I know it's hard for a coach to put it on the
Yeah, they do, Dave. Yeah, they do. Well, the queue at my door post review this week were longer than it's ever been in all the time I've been at the club. Sometimes there's some technical reasons in there. We had a little bit of people cutting across defenders, getting our tackle technique wrong, our tackle selection were wrong at times. But some of it, Dave, the answers aren't going to come from me.
Yeah.
They're going to come from them, and they're a group of players that have proven plenty of times that they can do it and do it very well. So for them not to do it, we talked about our preparation, which we felt we were well prepared. We felt we'd executed training really well. They felt fit and fresh, and the vibe were good, and they come off warm up, in a really positive frame of mind. So we as coaching staff, we always look back and think, could we have done this a little bit better? And we had some individuals to see last week, sticking their hands up, I guess, and saying it won't happen again, and others obviously wanting to work a little bit harder in some areas on extras that they know is going to benefit them, which is a great sign, which shows the players genuinely do care. I'd be a little bit worried if that wasn't the case, mate. I'd be more worried if that wasn't the case.
When you say you get this feedback for your players, do they come up with something like surprises you, or
sometimes? Some of them, yeah, it's head scratching stuff sometimes.
I'm thinking of positive. I'm not.
Yeah, there's positives. You know why? I'll use Kyle Amor for an instance. We have a rating system in our club where as senior players rate the rest of the group, the individuals rate themselves, and the coaches rate themselves. And I think Kyle Amor, we try and get everybody to aim for a 7 or above, and 80% of the team getting a 7 or above. We work some things out. We work some little performance indicators out around stuff like that, and. I don't mind saying this publicly. Kyle rated himself as a 2 last week. Kyle's probably had a week pre-season with a full team, and he just felt a little bit underdone, and he sought out getting in there and doing some extras on his contact this week. So the feedback we get from them is valuable. We listen to them sometimes, and other times we don't. We feel we've got a good enough feel for it and handle ourselves. But I do genuinely think they were as down and upset about the performance as we were, and I think there's a general feeling that we're going to do something about it. And you know what, it might not improve to the level that we want it to improve to overnight, but we'll work as hard as we can and as fast as we can to get it to that right level. It was something that it was something that was an ongoing factor, if you like, in our performance last year, that we had to be right on top of this, because we aren't one of them teams that can't be below par in that area and expect to produce brilliant excerpts of football and pull it out of the fire. We can't. We're a team, and we've thrived on being a team, and doing all those little detail things right is what's been getting us in games and keeping us in games. And we didn't do it. Long and short of it, we didn't do it. And they know, we know. We've had a good look at it. We've trained around it, and we think we've addressed it. And hopefully, we'll see a far greater increased level this week.
Wildcats started pretty solid themselves last week. How important is it for a big start this time around to maybe touch on their lack of confidence maybe, and just to get?
Yeah, I thought Catalan were really good last week. I thought they never veered from the plan that they'd set out, and I thought that they delivered it with a ruthless efficiency and a very physical game. And Catalan can do that. They've got the personnel to do that. Wildcats, I think, would have started the season with a lot of optimism. They showed some real flashes of skill and teamwork in the trial game against Hull, but obviously the trial games are exactly that, aren't they? The trial games. So a little bit like us, I think they'll be looking for an improved performance. I'm not too sure what either side will get out of watching round 1 games. If we perform like that in our defence, like we did last week, Dave, then same will happen to us again, and same will happen to us week after and week after that. So we know that, we know, and they'll know that if that's what we're gonna serve up in the ruck, then we ain't gonna get too far. And they'll probably be thinking that by the same token they probably need to do a little bit better in that area themselves. I think they've got a very, very smart halfback, and that helps you a lot. And if their forwards can provide a platform for him, he's good enough to take advantage of that, whether it be by hand or by boot as well.
You mentioned Tim Smith being 50-50 Rich.
Yeah.
So it was hard to tell how Mike Wilder did last week, given it, but you wouldn't have any doubts throwing him in again?
No, I wouldn't have any doubts throwing him in. I think we know, Tim is important for us, but it wouldn't matter if Jonathan Thurston and Andrew Johns had been as halfbacks last week. You wouldn't have been able to tell how good a players they were. We're certainly not going to judge Matty too harshly on that game and that game playing out of position. He had very, very limited possession and field position to even think about marshalling the team around the park. We got out of yardage okay when we had the ball, but I think you'd have to check the stats and correct me, but off the top of the head it was something like 54 or 55 sets played, 27. You probably average 40 sets apiece, 41, 42 sets apiece in a game of rugby. You know, if you start getting down to mid-30s, you start getting a bit worried. So to have 27 place, 54, I think to have to start judging how your halves have gone in that game, as I say, it wouldn't have mattered if John's Thurston and we'd have had Lockett at full-back. I don't think, you know, and you know, I don't mind saying that we highlighted it. You know, we win together and we lose together and we stick together, but we did feel that our forwards, you know, let us down in a way last week that, you know, we hope they don't let us down like that again for the rest of the year.
You mentioned with the attitude training and looking for the right attitude this week. I think that was a part of the defeat on Sunday, rather than it just being an off day. Not across the board. Not across the board. I think, you know, we'll look at Power and 8 on a couple of instances of theirs. They're trying to get off the line and belt people, but they didn't quite get the tackle selection right. They didn't quite get the system right. But I do feel we also had some guys in there that you know, the mindset in which they went in just wasn't good enough. You know, plain and simply wasn't good enough. That, you know, sometimes you got to get your elbows and your knees dirty playing this game. And we had a few blokes that I think were a little bit shy of going on the floor last week, which is a concern. But as I said, you know, we've had, you know, during my tenure, we've had a couple of performances where we've come off and been probably as down as we were last week. And I think every club and every coach and every bunch of players will get those from time to time during the course of the year. What you got to do is try and make sure it's kept to a minimum, an absolute bare minimum, and that we show the adequate response from it. And I'd like to think that was going to happen this week. We certainly showed it in training, but I've had no qualms about the way we've been training. You know, I've been happy with the way boys have been turning up and getting the jobs done during the week. So yeah, probably a little bit of a shock, but as I say, we're looking forward now. Poring over it all week and getting upset about it is not going to get us a performance this weekend. You know, we've looked at it, we've put it to bed, we feel we've trained around it, and we're hoping that we've made the necessary adjustments. And like I said, it might not be picture perfect overnight, but I think it's going to be a damn sight better than it was last week. A good way to do it at home.
First game, you know, we loved playing at home last year. You know, we loved playing at home. We had some outstanding days. You know, some really outstanding days here last year. Our crowd got right behind us and stuck with us all year. And you know, we want to try and recreate a little bit of that, because we do enjoy playing at home.
Love sick and I'm sick of this love game. I'm tired of hearing I'm the one to blame. I'm sick of you telling me to go and get dressed as if I'm the man you're here to impress. I'm love sick and I'm sick of this love game. I'm tired of hearing I'm the one to blame. And I'm sick of you telling me to go and get dressed as if I'm the man you're here to impress.